Well, it is about time to work on the Suburban again. So let me show you what we're doing. No, not that. This. So I'm long overdue for a radiator change on the Suburban. Honestly, the old one's leaking really, really bad. And so before we change this, we're going to actually flush the old radiator out. And that'll hopefully get any like contaminants out of the engine block and put them in the old radiator. Then we can put in the new one. So we're just going to use regular old coolant flush today. About a couple of these, we'll probably use them both, I don't know. The coolant's already been drained, so we'll pop this in there, fill it with water, and then take it for a drive. So now that it's filled with water, you're supposed to go take it for a drive. For light cleaning, it says 10 minutes. For heavy duty, it says for 3 hours. I think I'll go take it for about a 30 to 45 minute drive, and then we'll let it cool, and then we will drain it. Okay, now that we've done that, we're going to let this thing cool down, and while it cools down, we're going to go change the plugs on the Accord. Don't lose those. You do need a quite long extension. And there we are. And then not too tight because it's aluminum head. You don't want to screw them up. Boot. Screw. And then snug it down. And then be sure to plug your connector back in, otherwise it won't start. And then do the rest of them. Well, now we begin the arduous or annoying process of draining and filling and draining and filling this thing with water. Now that the cleaner is in it, it should have broke free any rust that was in the engine and gunk, and we want to get that out of there before we put the new radiator in. So I will skip this part because that would be boring AF, and I'll see you when it's clear. And now that it is crystal clear, the only thing left to do is... No, I'm just kidding, I'm not going to do that. Now that it's clear, we're going to actually swap the radiator. This is normally the point where you'd fill it back up with antifreeze and water, but we have a new radiator, so we're just going to empty it out and put the new radiator in. Well, I was supposed to do this before I took the radiator out of it, but... And we've got to say stock 195 degree thermostat because that's what was in it before, and it had zero problems cooling. In fact, it ran pretty cool most of the time. So we do not need 180 degrees. New gasket, and then this has cleaned up quite nicely. Nice and clean mating surface, and then the neck I've kind of broke off all of the little gems of goop. Now I'm going to put the lower hose on first before we, put the radiator in here. Elsewise, it'll be a little bit difficult to get this hose in there around the radiator. That'll do. And now we can very carefully put the new radiator in. This isn't gonna work. Well, that's a problem. Well, that's frustrating. It's the wrong size. It's about 2 inches too short. So I'm gonna have to reorder a new radiator. I could probably put some 2-inch steel brackets down there and just raise it up a little bit. But this is the same size radiator as my dad's truck, so I didn't do it wrong, I'm just planning ahead. But yeah, I guess I need to order a new radiator, so we'll do it right this time.
One eternity later.
Okay, attempt number 2. To say I'm disappointed in myself would be an understatement. About those new hose clamps? Okay, well there's really no way for me to show you this because it's kind of in there, but I'm putting the lower hose on. That was a pain in the ass, actually, because it kept wanting to slide forward. I guess I shouldn't have attached the transmission lines there yet, but I did. So next is the heater hose for the non-existent heater. I think we might cut this down. Okay. That way it doesn't leak, because typically when you reuse stuff like that, it's cracked around here and it leaks. We're just going to avoid that. Can't forget our little radiator outlet thing, which I'm not too concerned about that leaking. I can't wait for when I fill this up with water and everything leaks out. It's gonna be awesome. Also, side note, this was never gonna happen. It has been that way for a hot minute. So that's why I'm thinking that we need a new fan shroud. The last piece before I can fill this bitch up. And watch everything leak into the ground. Whoa, there's a shithead over there. Alright, moment of truth. How about we put water in first so I'm not wasting $15 worth of antifreeze if it leaks. Oh, it seems about half. Now the green stuff, which I hope is okay in an aluminum radiator. Oh, too much. We'll call that good enough. Okay, cross your fingers with me that there's no leaks anywhere and that I can drive the Suburban again. Alright, well we let it idle for 10 minutes or so and there's no leaks. So I guess all we have to do now is go for an actual drive, huh? It was occasionally getting pretty up there to like 210-ish, but I think once the thermostat cycled a couple times it was good. Well, about 50 miles into this drive, the Suburban is acting exactly like it did before the radiator change, which was an excellent way to behave. So we're gonna call this good. Let's get home and we can wrap this up. Okay, well we're done. God, I'm mad at myself for not measuring my radiator right the first time, but I mean, what can you do, right? You just keep rolling with the punches, and now I have a radiator for my dad's truck, so maybe I'll start working on that soon. Anyway, that's about all I got for you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and as usual, you be good while I'm gone. I'll see you next time. Have a good week.